Today I want to talk a little bit about some of the earliest signs and symptoms of narcissistic abuse. So these are red flags that one might initially recognize in the beginning stages of a relationship. When the cycle is transitioning from idealize to devalue, and recognizing these signs early enough may save a victim from, being more blatantly abused in the discard stage. So let's take a look at the top 10 things that one might recognize. Number 1, you're always wrong. This doesn't matter if it's something as simple as doing something around the house, such as folding a load of clothes or making the bed. The narcissist is going to tell you that you're not doing it right, that his way is better, and basically demonstrate how he does it and expect you to do the same. Or it could be something more complex and inherently characteristic to you. Maybe you're expressing your morals or your values or your specific views on a situation. Things that matter more. You could even be discussing a plan that you would like to take in your life. And no matter what it is, the narcissist is going to tell you that it's not feasible, that you're not being logical, that, he's going to have a different opinion of it. And so you feel as if no matter what you do, you're always going to be wrong. So that leads into number 2. You feel as if you've gotten to a point where you can't assert yourself at all. So because you have been met with confrontation time and again whenever you try to do something with the narcissist present or express your opinion on a certain situation, you feel as if, you're always going to be wrong, and so you can't do anything at all in his presence. So basically you start to internalize your thoughts and feelings in certain situations or topics, and you feel as if you can't get anything done when he's in the room. So you have to wait till this person leaves. And this constant confrontation becomes exhausting. So number 3, you feel exhausted all the time. You feel mentally, emotionally, physically drained. Your muscles get tight. You feel as if you have no energy to do anything anymore. And you can't really pinpoint why this is. So, you're busy, life is busy, and you have a full schedule, but you've always been able to manage in the past, and suddenly you're unable to do so. Number 4, you realize that you've really started to distance yourself from your friends and family. You used to have this close, circle of friends that you used to see and hang out with all the time, or you're really close to, your family or a member of your family, and you used to talk to this person on the phone all the time, and suddenly you realize that, wow, it's been quite a while since, you guys have gotten together or even talked on the phone or communicated at all. And your schedule is no different than it ever was in the past. There's also this sense that, victims often feel that there's something off or something wrong with the relationship, and they can't quite pinpoint it. And this is derived from, very subtle things that the narcissist begins to do early on, to trap the victim and maintain control. So you might notice differences in your financial picture. Perhaps, you no longer have access to your family's budget. He's insisted on taking total control of this. He's creating his own budget for your family. It could be that, your credit card is missing from your wallet. It could be that he's telling you that now that you guys have a child together, that you need to increase your life insurance policy. I mean, there's just really, subtle things, and when they're put all together, they add up to something that seems, downright dangerous and, not right. But he'll space them out over a long period of time and, just kind of poke and prod to keep you guessing. So something's off, but you really can't pinpoint it. And then this makes you extremely paranoid, obviously. So you feel as if you're always anxious, you're always paranoid. You don't know how to present in front of this person, so you can't be yourself. You can't explain yourself or any of your opinions. And normally this person's told you that you're paranoid, right? So you may have questioned some of these things that seem off to you, and their immediate reaction is going to be to tell you not to worry about it. They have it under control and to stop being so paranoid. So once you hear this time and again, obviously you're going to feel like you're always paranoid or anxious, and you're walking on eggshells with this person present. So then this normally starts to escalate. The sense of paranoia and constant questioning really gets on the narcissist's nerves, and so this is when confrontation usually starts to escalate, and verbal confrontation can start to turn physical. Most narcissistic abusers are not blatantly physical in the beginning. In fact, they'll start confrontation as just verbal confrontation, and try to maintain control that way. As things begin to escalate, it may turn physical, but it may just be physical enough, that you're going to even question, how you felt about the way this person reacted. So for instance, you could get into a heated verbal argument and he pushes you. Okay. And then he tells you, why'd you make me do that? And just trying to push you away from me. I don't want to do this. And you realize that it's not right that he put his hands on you, but it was, not horrible. So then, time and again, this confrontation happens, and it'll slowly escalate to more and more physical abuse. So it'll start with the pushing and, the excuses, and then it'll turn more and more physical, which can get very dangerous. So another thing that is very inherent of narcissists is they cannot feel empathy towards anybody but themselves. Okay, they're extremely self-centered, they're selfish, and they're truly unable to feel for anyone else. So when you're in a partnership with somebody, this is obviously very frustrating. If something, especially when something, medically happens to you or your health, and you're scared about it. It's something that could potentially be serious, or maybe it happened to one of your children, and you need to go to the doctors and get things figured out. Normally, when you try to discuss this with your partner, he'll tell you that you're just being overly paranoid again. That is probably not a big deal, and a lot of times they'll just check out. So, you'll be discussing this, and it's just way too heavy for them. So, and they know that they can't respond in the way that you're looking for. So they'll just leave. They'll leave altogether. So they'll make up some excuse of why they need to leave the home, and the conversation will be over. So, then, obviously it seems as if the narcissist doesn't care about anything. So if the narcissist can't, care about when their family has a potentially serious medical issue, then it becomes clear to you that they can't care about anyone or anything. And you'll probably start to put together that they, on the other hand, whenever something is wrong with them, expect to have your constant care, attention, and appreciation. And they want you to be subservient to them without questioning it. So you realize that, all these times you've really cared whenever there was something that was worrying this person, but when the roles are switched, they just show no empathy whatsoever. And then you realize that you begin to start living completely separate lives, mostly because you feel as if you can't express yourself, you can't do anything with this person present. This person starts to check out, and they start to have more and more excuses of why they're leaving the home, and they're likely having a second relationship, or they're being just secretive in other areas of their life, with finances or jobs or day-to-day situations. They don't really want you to be privy to. So they'll continue to leave the home, and you'll realize that you're by yourself more and more. And this makes you, unable to have a partnership with this person at all. So you will start to do things around the home on your own that you normally, would hope that you'd get the help of your partner with. And you realize that you're basically living a life alone. When you've gotten to this point, normally there's a sense of resentment that overcomes you, given all of this physical and mental abuse, or, emotional and mental abuse, and somewhat physical abuse that you've endured. And you start to shut down, you start to become resentful. And so this is when oftentimes the relationship with the narcissist will begin to transition from devalue to discard. So this is when the abuse becomes more and more blatant, because there's more and more confrontation and more arguments that happen. So if you're able to leave in this stage without it getting to that point, and without the transition, fully completing, you're in a much better spot. Just know that if you choose to stay, you really are setting the relationship up for failure. There's no winning with somebody who is inherently self-centered, unempathetic, and has a pathological disorder. So it's only going to get worse. So, it's my hope that anyone listening to this video will get their courage to leave early enough to save themselves from potentially horrible abuse, after the fact. So, peace and love. Thanks for listening.